My name is Carrie Hixon. I teach at Mustang High School, and I teach grades 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay, in this one, we're talking about lesson 20. What's the cost of spending and saving? Tell us about your experiences with the lesson. What went well, what didn't go well, and what tips would you offer teachers using this lesson plan in the classroom?
All right. So for those of you that have never used Financial Fitness for Life, it's a really good curriculum because it lays everything out for you as a teacher. You don't have to try and figure out anything that you're going to say. It's all laid out step by step. It even gives you things to say and when to say them. For those of you that you have used this, then you already know that. But I really like the way it is set up. Because once you've used it a couple of times, then you can go in and move things around to make it work for you. So, and if you've never used it before, like I said, then it tells you step 1, make sure you have printed this off for the students. Step 2, make sure you say this now. Step 3, now you need to tell the students this. Step 4, pass this out. So it gives you exactly what you need to do. And if your first time you're teaching this, that is really helpful until you get used to the subject matter that you're teaching. So I would say that was probably one of the best things to me about Financial Fitness for Life. When I've used this lesson, again, I have used this lesson for quite a few years now. And so what I found that works better for me now, because I'm in a computer lab, is that I've created a PowerPoint / Nearpod with some of the shorter readings set up more as a note-taking format. So I don't have to pass out as many papers for them to have to read through, and they actually have the notes then in front of them to study for the test that we're going to take. So setting it up in that format has helped me. It saves me time since I'm trying to get through so much information. It just makes it a little bit faster. One of the other things that I've found as I've gone through this is that when I do the financial chessboard, I don't personally use all 64 squares when I'm going through it. It just seemed a little bit longer and a little bit more tedious after a while. So I'll only use part of the squares as I'm going through this. The other thing that I don't do personally is I don't do the assessment at the end. Again, that's just takes a little bit more time than I have that I'm able to give to this because I've got so much more I've got to cover within the standard for personal finance on this one, standard 5. And so I usually don't do the assessment. If you have time, if you like to do that, it's there, and it's a great way to make sure that kids have understood the topic that you're doing. So that would be some of my tips and my takeaway for this.
Okay, so this lesson, right, we're focusing on, students learn how to compound interest and make savings grow. Why does this lesson bring value to a student beyond the classroom?
I think one of the things that this does is that they start realizing that they need to start saving and or investing sooner than later. They've probably heard all of their lives, you need to save money, you need to save money, you need to save money. And most of them know that, but they don't know why. What am I saving for? What's the point of it? Okay. Or maybe I know I need to save for college, or I need to save for a car, I need to save for prom. But they don't understand the long-term effects of this. And this lesson, to me, lets them understand why I need to start saving now and not later. And that if I start saving now, I won't have to save as much out of my pocket as if I wait until later. So it goes through the story of Anna and Sean. That's one of the lessons in here that it talks about. And they read through about Anna and they read about Sean. And you ask them who's going to have more at the end. And typically most people would think that Sean would, because he saved more out of pocket over time. He saved $2,000 for like 32 years or something. Anna only saved $2,000 for 12 years. So most of them are going to think Sean has more. Then when they look at the actual table that shows them, most of them are really shocked and surprised that it's actually Anna that had more by the time she was 65 years old. In fact, she had almost over twice as much as Sean did. And it's like, why? And so you start talking about the compound interest, and they understand then how it doesn't play a part right at the beginning, but if you give it time, compound interest works in your favor. And it really starts helping you grow your money. And so they see that reality is that, like, oh, I need to start saving now, not when I'm in my late 20s or early 30s and my job's better and I'm more secure. Start doing it now. And if I start earlier, again, I don't need to save as much out of pocket to have more later on. So it's actually saving me money to start early to have more later on. I think the other thing that this shows and teaches is to help them find the highest rate of return for their savings or investments, because it talks about the rule of 72 and how long is it going to take my money to double given an interest rate. And so the higher the interest rate or rate of return, the faster my money doubles, the faster my money grows for me. And so with the risks that I'm willing to handle, where should I put my money to get the highest rate of return? And so I think these lessons are taught really well through this lesson 20. So kids can take that and internalize that, hopefully, and learn to start saving at an earlier age.
Okay. And of course, in lesson 20, you mentioned it as well. You have the chessboard of financial life. And so, how do you handle that particular game in the classroom? How do you engage all students in the classroom using the chessboard of financial life?
Okay, well, one of the things that I do is that I have the chessboard printed out, okay, and I use a document camera, which I have in my classroom, which is nice. And so I can show them what I'm doing at my desk, and they can see it on the big screen. So it's easier for them to relate. And I first start off by saying, hey, I got a deal for you. How many of you want $10,000 in cold, hard cash? Well, all of them do, of course. I said, or I can give you a penny and double it every day for 64 days. Now, which one do you want? Well, some of them still stick with the 10,000 because that just sounds better to them. But some of them start thinking and go, hey, there must be something to this. She's trying to trick us. So let's go with the penny. Or some of them maybe have actually seen this. And then I take an actual penny and put it on day one for them. And then I have a couple of kids pull up a calculator or pull out their calculators and go, okay, now y'all show me. If I double this, what's it going to do? Well, that's 2 pennies. So I put 2 pennies on day 2. Double it again, 4. So 4 pennies on day 3. Then day 4, 8. Then day 5, 16. Well, after 16, it's kind of hard to stack pennies on here. So at that point, I go, okay, we're going to quit the pennies and we're just going to start writing in. So I start writing in 32 cents, 64 cents, and we keep doubling it. They tell me what it's going to be. And I do that up until we hit the 10,000. So it's a little over 10,000 that they're going to hit. And at that point, I go, okay, because I'm kind of starting to lose some of them at that point. I go, we have already on day 21 hit over the $10,000 that I offered you. And we have a lot more days to go until we hit day 64. So how much do you think we'll have at day 64? And some of them will guess. And I'll go in and write on day 64 the amount. And it's huge. Okay. I'm like, I don't even know this number, right? This is more money than the world has right now. But the point is that, and my lights just went off. The point is that you need compounding interest. It works in your favor and it helps your money grow faster. And so nobody's going to get 100% rate of return, but the idea is you've got to give it time and let compound interest work in your favor. So that's kind of how I use that. Like I said, I don't do all 64 squares just because I lose the kids probably after about by the fact that we're getting to day 21. So.
Okay. And then final thing, if there is a teacher out there who is on the border of whether or not to use lesson 20. They're like, I don't know, should I do it, should I not? What's one piece of advice you would say, you know what, you should do lesson 20 in the classroom? What would it
I
be?
think, yeah, I think you should do lesson 20. Again, because for me, the story of Anna and Sean, I use that then throughout the rest of the semester. I go back to go, hey, you remember Anna and Sean? You know, do you want to be Grandma Anna with $900,000 plus, or do you want to be Grandpa Sean with $400,000 something? And so being able to go back to that over and over again, the power of compound interest. Start saving early, okay? Because the earlier you save, the less you have to save out of pocket. And I keep bringing that up throughout the rest of the semester and reminding them of that. And it's something that they can go back and go, oh, yeah, I do remember that. So I think for me, that's probably one of the biggest parts of this. That's a big takeaway for the students.
All right. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.